a revelation dawns on you. This would almost hit you like a ton of bricks in an emotional sense. You may be refining yourself or walking away from certain things, but there's sort of this sudden realization of what has to happen. Now, this maybe comes from deeper analyzation of oneself. And, you know, I think that you're coming to some choices of what you want your path to look like, how you want things to go. And by God, you can't give up on yourself, right? You can't throw care to the wind forever. It feels very foundational. Now, I'll say, I feel like there's also a sense of obligation for your relationships, maybe in business, maybe just showing up for your loved ones properly, you know, and trying to find a way out of, I want to say things that haven't been properly addressed. Now, the outside influence, you have the King of Pentacles, so I do think that there will be, you know, for whatever reason, I definitely get a sense of massive changes in your financial situation. Now, that doesn't come with any shortage of effort, for sure. You may be anticipating a communication because that is in the fears and passions, or, you know, there's a need to sort of defend something. You have to really kind of keep your focus on task here and on the goal. But it comes with a much deeper sense of satisfaction, because this doesn't just represent success. It represents a fundamental shift within you on how you want to see your life progress. Maybe your understanding of, you know, it's almost like foundational aspects of your life have given you insight into your emotional self, if that somehow makes sense. It's almost uncorrelated, but it brings deeper meaning to things in some way. Also, connection with the earth, I'm hearing, is very relevant for you right now. So definitely make sure you're making time to go outside or connecting with nature in whatever way you can. There, you know, it can be hard, right? Especially if there's very real struggles that are present, like such as economic circumstances or, you know, fears, traumas, all these things. But at the very least, I feel like you're finding clarity with these things, or how you see these things, and can start to take progressive steps forward in what feels very much like a healing process. But also with that, it's very motivating to change your material circumstances, maybe. It feels subtle, but that's basically what I'm kind of getting from it. I do want to take a moment to promote my Patreon. That is where the extended version of all these readings go, as well as exclusive content and monthly art prints sent out. And it's a great way to support the channel, support me as an independent creative and artist. This is, you know, my whole thing and what I do. So if you want to support that, then definitely check that out. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I do have personal readings available in my shop, as well as artwork and prints and so on. Let's look a little further. And don't get so wrapped up in defending things and sort of neglect other aspects of your life. You know, there's almost a sense of how fragile things are. And also don't give all of your earnings away or something. Like, you know, especially if you're overcompensating. You know, I feel like you might become aware of that in some way. And just sort of like saying like, yeah, totally, put all the fucking burden on my shoulders. You know, why not? And it is holding you down. So in a sense, like it's kind of keeping you in this loop of frustration that I do think you should be aware of. Now that doesn't mean that things can't be sorted out, but you know, there's going to need to be a choice made or some kind of, you know, you're the fucking leader here, right? It's evident. So make the lead choice. And that's kind of what it's gonna come down to, I think. And, you know, that'll have to go how it'll have to go. It'll vary for all of you, I'm sure. Yeah, and especially if you observe your patterns, right? It's like, if you end up spending a lot of time doing this or doing that, or putting your focus on like the needs of others, or just, you know, like say you get invited out, you know you shouldn't go out, but you go out for whatever sense of obligation or something like that. You know, I mean, like cutting out things like that and sort of just cutting to the core of something and really sort of seeing the truth of it and understanding where your limitations are, where your boundaries are, and, you know, drawing that line accordingly. And it could be with people that you're close with. So there is a need to pay attention to that, because when you can kind of clear up the debate or the uncertainty or insecurity of it or whatever it is, I think you'll see good progress. Clarify. And if you're seeing something that you're like in denial about, stop being in denial.